This is your Daily 5 for Thursday, July 9th, 2026. My wife and I finished watching the first season. There has been a confirmed second season, so I'm saying first season on purpose. The first season of the Apple TV original series Widow's Bay, which has been, as far as I could tell, fairly well reviewed almost everywhere for people who are fans of Stephen King style horror series. Now, it often gets described, because I want to point this out right up front, because my wife and I both agreed on this, and my wife is not nearly as much a Stephen King fan as I am, not nearly as into horror films as I am, but we both enjoy comedies, and both of us did not think that this was something that we would use the word comedy in combination with. Now, I want to be clear when I say that. It's not that there's no comedy in it. It definitely has comedic elements, but they're largely rooted in character quirks as opposed to actually being a comedy series, as I often see it described. In fact, I think the description on Apple's own site and a couple others starts with the word comedy before the word horror, which I find weird. It's very similar to Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks can be very funny, but I would never call Twin Peaks a comedy series. And this is a similar thing. This is definitely what I would call it is a folk horror series. If I really had to come up with a kind of catch-all, I would say it's a folk horror series because it feels very, and I saw a lot of reviews saying this, I absolutely agree. If you grew up or are a fan of Stephen King in any way and you like his kind of Castle Rock feeling horror where it's these small kind of communities that are, they're not throwback communities, but they have these ties back to their roots type of stuff where they feel both modern and a little bit retro in how they approach things. That's what this series is. The basic premise is it takes place on an island titled Widow's Bay, or called Widow's Bay. And the new mayor of the town wants to make it into the next Martha's Vineyard. That comes up multiple times. Weirdly, the series never explains what Martha's Vineyard is. It just assumes everybody knows. I'm not sure how universal the knowledge of Martha's Vineyard is. Look it up. I won't explain it. It'll take 5 minutes to explain it. It's kind of like when people mention the Hamptons, assuming everybody knows what the Hamptons are. And maybe there is some knowledge from TV shows and that type of thing, but it's just, I would have spent just a minute explaining what Martha's Vineyard is. But basically, just think of it as they want to establish Widow's Bay as a tourist destination. Just think of it that way, and it's just as effective as saying the next Martha's Vineyard. And over the course of the series, it becomes clear that the island has some things going on with it that may not be conducive to a thriving tourist industry. I'm trying not to spoil anything. But it's a mystery series. In some ways will be reminiscent of Lost and Stranger Things. But at least in the case of Lost, I think that this series does something very wise in that it doesn't start just layering on mystery after mystery after mystery with nothing explained. In fact, one of the things I like best about it is that there are episodes, more than a few, where something new is introduced and dealt with within the one episode. Now, all these things do relate back to the bigger mystery of the island and what's going on. You certainly know that it's there. It's always simmering in the background. But there are unique things that come up at the beginning of the episode, and by the 40-minute end of the episode, because they're all around 40 minutes, it's been dealt with. It's not just staying in the background to stack upon everything else that's come before in every single episode. And I think that's something we've lost a lot in the streaming era, is the ability to, yes, have a core mystery that you're aware is there, but also have an episode that's only about this one thing. And while the mystery is there, it can wait till the next episode before we get back to it right away. That's something I feel like we don't get enough of, and Widow's Bay does it exceptionally well. It's beautifully filmed. Everybody in it is dynamite. Some faces you'll recognize, some you won't, or at least I didn't recognize everybody in it. They were not very familiar to me. It's just so well put together, which, is always the problem with, okay, there's going to be a season 2. They've already announced that. Is it going to be able to hold up to this standard, or will it follow the Stranger Things model? I can't tell you that now because I can't see into the future, but I'm really hoping that they can maintain this same type of momentum. If they can, this will be a classic series that people will talk about. But regardless, I would say if you're at all interested, absolutely watch season 1. It is that well made, and it's worth your time. Later.